Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first video in quite some time. I said I would be back in the last video. I wasn't really, but now is when I really want to pick things up. The reason I've been basically procrastinating on making more videos is because I'm quite perfectionistic. I don't think I need to explain you. And I want to do it all when it's the right time, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Now I just want to start a new series that's quite easy, that's easy for me to make as well, and that's still valuable to you guys because it's more about what I'm currently doing and what I am seeing that is working or not working when it comes to getting productive. So I guess this is episode 1 of an INTP getting productive. Basically, real short, to me, being an INTP comes down to your personal life, your occupational life, and your relational life or your relationships. And I want to focus for now with this channel on that occupational section. So that's your job, career, or mission, or whatever it is that you're working on. And to me, overarching is purpose, right? Because as INTPs, we might have certain predispositions or strengths or weaknesses that say, okay, this is what we will be good at, and this is what we think is important, so this is my purpose. When it comes, that's overarching. When it comes to achieving that, we usually have 3 areas of productivity basically to work on. So we have procrastination, productivity, and performance. Procrastination is about starting the work. Then once you're actually doing something, it's about making that valuable. So that's productivity. And then performance is about increasing how many hours we can actually do productive work. Currently, I'm struggling with mostly productivity, which is about focus and effectiveness to me. Procrastination still happens. But anyway, this video, I want to just explain briefly what kind of work I do right now. And how I plan to get more productive at it. That's really quite simple. So for the past half a year, I haven't been putting a lot of effort into this channel. I've been focusing more on my work as an appointment setter. Basically, I do remote sales. I have conversations with people to get them to book in a call, and in the call, someone else is going to close the deal if it turns out that the deal is of value to both parties. I've done that for agencies and now for coaches. And as you can imagine, as an INTP, doing sales is already kind of tricky. It's also doing a lot of volume, so a lot of conversations per day in DMs, which is quite mundane work, which doesn't really fit INTPs either. But the reason I still chose this is because I think it's a valuable skill to learn, because it allows me to make money remotely, which means I'm now in a different place, and just to network in this world of online education, because I think it's really interesting. Anyway, the past 3 weeks have been the first 3 weeks of me actually doing more than 40 hours of work a week. Now, I'm not saying that for you guys the goal should be to work more hours per se, but in my case it is. And of course, I've also been working on how much I do per hour. It's not that I'm increasing my hours but getting less work done. It goes hand in hand in this situation. Briefly, my work days are just being in the inbox, chatting to people, opening conversations, going through a certain framework, and then booking in appointments and doing sort of like the administrative work that comes along with that. So that is not at all what I think INTPs are made for, but that is what my days look like. And it's 6 days a week. Now, the potential here, as I get better and more effective, is to make pretty decent money. And to do it remotely, which is great. And so therefore, I have challenged myself to follow through with this, basically. And to make it work. And also now I'm working for a business that is actually working consistently, so I can stay here for a long time and really work on my productivity and reflect on it and bring it back to you guys. So real shortly, what did I do last week? what do I plan to do differently in the coming week? Those two things are what I'm going to look at every single week from now on, for as long as I'm working for the business that I'm working for right now. And afterwards, we'll see. But now, everything is fixed except for what I do. So, without much further ado, let's just get into it. I have a notebook where I wanted to do weekly and daily reflections, but we'll get into that. Basically, my goals are not just hours, or hours actually don't matter at all. What matters is that I have 200 conversations a day. Again, in direct messaging. Now, last week I did 8 call proposals. So I suggested to 8 people that we should hop on a call. 9 calls were booked because someone booked from a call proposal I did last week. 4 of my calls booked led to a deal. And I worked 37 hours last week. Okay. So that is okay, considering I've only been here for maybe a month and a half. But what I'm aiming for is to do better, obviously, both input-wise and output-wise. I'll spare you all the details of the actual workflow or the appointment setting skills, because that's irrelevant to you guys. But what I've been doing productivity-wise over the past month or so is basically the following. I try to get up at like 7, clear my inbox, then we have a sales meeting at like 9, then to have conversations and do follow-ups, and do it in work blocks of like an hour to 2 hours, then to take a break, usually an hour or more, and really spread out my work throughout the day. I use Google Calendar to sort of time block my entire day. So like morning work block, day start, the sales call, then I go to the gym, then I do blah, blah, blah. Do I really stick to it? No. I guess maybe in this video or in the next video I'll start showing my Google Calendar, because I make things green when I do them well, make things yellow when I do at least 75% of what I said I would do, and I make them red when I don't do what I said I would do. So it's going to be interesting to see how I improve that. It's also going to be interesting to see what I'm actually doing better in terms of how many conversations I'm having, blah, blah, blah. What I notice is that I try to get up early in the morning, but I don't really get up. Why? Because I'm still working at like 11 at night. When I'm still working until, let's say, 11, and then I go to bed immediately, can't fall asleep, my head's still figuring things out of what I was just doing. That's error number 1. Second thing is therefore that I'm sleeping at maybe 12 and getting up at 6 or 7, which is too little sleep in my eyes. I think as an INTP, at least in winter times, I want to aim for 9 hours of sleep. And in summer times, 7.5 hours of actual sleep. So not of being in bed, but actual sleep. But I would even consider trying to sleep 9 hours a day, even in summer. Just because the brain is always on, and it's good to give it a chance to rest and recover. Maybe because last night I slept like 10 hours maybe, or like 9 hours. Maybe that was just because I had a sleep deficit, so to say. I'm not entirely sure, but that's what I'm aiming for. So that's the thing. Another thing is that I've been stressing out a lot, questioning if I'm on the right path, blah, blah, blah. I'm not very active physically. I'm not training a lot, running a lot, exercising a lot. In other words, my days look like 7 hours of sleep, 8 hours of work, and the other 9 hours I'm just doing nothing. I go to the grocery shop, whatever, but I spend an insane amount of hours every day on my phone still. Why? I'm not really sure. I guess because the work I'm doing is not incredibly fulfilling. It's nice to see that I'm making money with it when I land a deal, but that's not intrinsically motivating. And so my my dopamine or my happy moments do not come from work, and not the gym either, because I'm not going. So it's a lot of scrolling, doing bullshit, watching videos, nonsense. So I guess this is just a recap on the last video. It's a bit incoherent, this video. I'm just going over what I sort of look back on the past week or weeks, actually, because I haven't done much in terms of like trying to change. But now I wrote down a couple of things that I want to do and implement in the next week that I think will increase my productivity. And we're just going to see the results, and then I'll bring those back to you. So 5 things that will help me improve in the coming week, which is week 29. I've changed my Google Calendar so that Sunday is the first day of the week instead of Monday. I want to start seeing Sundays as the first day of the week and the most important day of the week. Previously, I was looking at it like, okay, Monday through Saturday I'm working. Sunday is when I recover. Then when you work hard throughout the week and you get to Sunday, you start to tell yourself now it's okay to do a lot of the vices like social media scrolling or being lazy. When really, what you should be aiming for, in my case, when you're working 8 hours a day and doing bullshit on your phone 8 hours a day, is recovering and resting more throughout the week. Sorry for that. And so Sundays, from now on, I want to reflect on the past week, and I want to make these videos, blah, blah, blah. I want them to be days that are actually fulfilling to me. I want to go to the beach. I want to have actual good moments, go to the gym, do things I actually enjoy, do things that fulfill me, so that when the work week comes, I feel better, opposed to when my Sundays are very lazy and don't do anything, and then I have to sort of, I still have to do a bit of preparation for the Monday, blah, blah, blah. And it's a different way of looking at it. So that's one thing that I'm going to do. Going to see how that goes. I also want to be in bed for 9.5 hours every day, with the intention then of falling asleep in half an hour and having 9 hours of sleep a night. Just going to see how it goes. We're in the middle of summer, so it's a bit counterintuitive to sleep more. But simply from 10 p.m. to 7:30 a.m., I want to be in bed. Genuinely sleeping more it always feels like a game changer to me, just because, again, my head is always on. It takes a long while to get to fall asleep. So if you're in bed for 7.5 hours, you're sleeping maybe 6.5, or maybe even less. But whatever, that's quite simple. Then, as I was just saying, I want to do daily reflection, where I just journal how the day went, how I'm feeling, blah, blah, blah. Because I think it will help me fall asleep easier, and because it's going to be more frequent feedback on what I'm doing, and if I'm doing it well, it's going to be a moment where I'm not staring at my screen for working or staring at my screen for social media or whatever, but where I'm just sitting outside, no phone, no screen, just journaling, reflecting on the day in the week. Again, every single day, and then on the Saturdays or Sundays, looking back on the previous week. That is what I plan to do, and what I think will really help me, just because, again, you sleep more, you refresh or reset more, instead of being in this continuous drag of thinking about work or working. So I'm interested to see how that works. Then I want to do 30-minute breaks max. Now I'm doing an hour or 2 hours of work, and then an hour and a half of break. Because I only need to work about 7-8 hours a day, and I can spread it out. And I tell myself when I spread it out throughout the day. But again, when I am taking a break of an hour and a half, I go and watch a video or go on my phone. And then I don't have a single second without, again, consuming information and the brain's being on, basically. But I still took an hour and a half of my day. Instead, if I do shorter breaks, that's a plan at least, and I do them without a screen, then I can actually get my work done a lot sooner, so that I have the evenings off to reflect or read or make videos or whatever that I want to do. And I want to gym, walk, or run every single day instead of just walking a bit every day. I do walk at least, but I want to sweat more. I want to have my heartbeat up more because I think it will make me more productive. And then the last thing I want to do is to start reading like half an hour a day on a book on a topic that is somewhat related to my goal. My goal is basically to get better at sales and to be more productive for right now in sales. I guess I can almost leave it at that. This is what I want to start doing again every single day, a week. And I also want to start making videos again that are actually a bit more theoretical, where I go into whatever book I'm reading right now. I'm reading Feel Good Productivity, I'm reading Psycho-Cybernetics, books that I think can help me improve. I'm bringing that to you because it's a bit more valuable, perhaps, than just these videos where I sit in front of a camera and talk about my week or whatever. If you do find it valuable, let me know. I guess this will probably be the least valuable video out of the bunch, because it was just the first benchmark, basically. But for now, and every single week, I'll keep you guys updated as to what I'm doing differently and how I'm noticing that it's making me more productive. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how things are going, just feel free to comment or hit me up on Instagram at the Franco Davis. And wishing you guys a good week.